Welcome to Blood Sugar Squad, your go-to channel for simple, actionable tips to manage diabetes and live your best life. Every time you reach for a banana, do you hesitate? Is this going to spike my blood sugar? Should I eat a green one instead of a yellow one? What if I just avoid bananas altogether? If you have ever stood in your kitchen asking yourself these questions, you are not alone. Bananas are one of the most confusing foods for people with diabetes. They are fruit, so they must be healthy. But they are also sweet and full of carbohydrates. Now, what if I told you there is a close relative of the banana that might actually be better for your blood sugar? It is called a plantain. It looks like a banana, but it behaves very differently in your body depending on how ripe it is and how you prepare it. In this video, we are going to settle the banana debate once and for all. We will compare bananas and plantains, look at what happens as they ripen, and show you the smartest ways to enjoy both while keeping your blood sugar under control. Segment 1. The banana problem. Let us start with the banana. A medium banana, about 118 grams, contains roughly 23 grams of carbohydrates. That sounds intimidating, but the real story is not the total carbs. It is what happens to those carbs as the banana ripens. When a banana is green, much of its carbohydrate content exists as resistant starch and pectin. Resistant starch behaves a lot like fiber. Your body does not digest it easily, which means it tends to have a smaller impact on blood sugar. As the banana ripens, those starches gradually convert into simple sugars, like glucose, fructose, and sucrose. That is why ripe bananas taste sweeter than green ones. In general, greener bananas tend to have a lower glycemic impact, while heavily spotted, overripe bananas are more likely to raise blood sugar quickly because much of the starch has already been converted into sugar. So if you are going to eat a banana, greener is usually better. But ripeness is only part of the story. Here is something that surprises many people. Two people can eat the exact same banana and get completely different blood sugar readings. One person may see only a modest rise, while another may spike much higher. That is why bananas have such a mixed reputation in the diabetes community. The fruit matters, but your body's response matters even more. And even with a greener banana, do not eat it by itself if you can avoid it. Try pairing it with protein or healthy fat. Slice it into plain Greek yogurt. Add peanut butter. Pair it with a handful of nuts. Those additions slow digestion and often reduce the blood sugar spike. Portion size matters too. A small banana will usually have less impact than a large one. Sometimes half a banana is all you need. The good news? You do not have to give up bananas. You just have to be strategic. Segment 2. Enter the plantain. Now let us talk about the banana's starchy cousin, the plantain. At first glance, they look almost identical, but plantains are larger, firmer, less sweet, and usually cooked before eating. In many parts of the world, they are treated more like potatoes than fruit. And that is where things get interesting for people with diabetes. A cup of boiled green plantains contains about 35 grams of carbohydrates. That is actually more than a banana. But those carbohydrates are mostly starch rather than sugar. When plantains are green, they contain very little sugar and a significant amount of resistant starch. As a result, boiled green plantains generally have a lower glycemic impact than ripe bananas. The key phrase there is green plantains. Just like bananas, plantains change dramatically as they ripen. As they turn yellow and then black, more of their starch converts into sugar. A ripe plantain is much sweeter than a green one and can have a very different effect on blood sugar. Preparation matters too. Boiled or baked green plantains retain much of their resistant starch and make an excellent side dish. They are filling, satisfying, and often easier on blood sugar than many other starchy foods. But fried sweet plantains, often called maduros, are a different story. They are delicious, but once you combine ripeness with frying, you are looking at a food that can raise blood sugar much more quickly. So if blood sugar control is your goal, green plantains are generally your best choice. Segment 3. Which one wins? At this point, you might be wondering whether you should stop eating bananas altogether and switch entirely to plantains. Not necessarily. If we are looking strictly at blood sugar impact, green plantains probably have a slight advantage. They are lower in sugar, higher in resistant starch, and tend to raise blood glucose more gradually than ripe bananas. But blood sugar is only part of the equation. Bananas have one enormous advantage that is easy to overlook: convenience. You can toss a banana into a lunch bag, keep one at your desk, or grab one on your way out the door. Plantains usually require planning, preparation, and cooking. And that highlights something important. The best food for diabetes is not always the food with the lowest glycemic index. Sometimes it is the food you can consistently include in a healthy routine. So rather than thinking of this as a competition with one winner and one loser, it is better to think of bananas and plantains as different tools. If you enjoy bananas, choose greener ones whenever possible. Pair them with protein or healthy fat, and pay attention to portion size. If you enjoy plantains, focus on green plantains and prepare them by boiling or baking rather than frying. The closer you stay to that green, starchy stage, the more blood sugar friendly they tend to be. And here is one final surprise. Green bananas and green plantains have become popular ingredients in resistant starch supplements and powders. Researchers have become interested in resistant starch because it behaves differently from ordinary carbohydrates and may produce a smaller blood sugar response. That does not mean bananas or plantains are miracle foods, but it does show why ripeness matters so much. As these foods become sweeter, they also become very different from a metabolic standpoint. Segment 4. Final thoughts. Bananas are not the enemy. For most people with diabetes, a green or slightly underripe banana can fit perfectly well into a healthy eating plan, especially when paired with protein or healthy fat. A green banana is not the same food as a heavily spotted banana. Plantains may have a slight edge when they are green, boiled, or baked. They are lower in sugar, rich in resistant starch, and surprisingly versatile in the kitchen. They are not the same food as a plate of fried sweet plantains. Always check your own blood sugar to understand how each can affect you. The real lesson is not that one food is good and the other is bad. The real lesson is that ripeness matters. So the next time you're at the grocery store, do not just look at the fruit, look at the color. That little bit of green might make a bigger difference than you think. Now we want to hear from you. Do you eat bananas? Have you tried plantains? Have you noticed a difference in your blood sugar between green and ripe fruit? Comment below and please share this video with someone who still thinks every banana is created equal. Until next time, stay strong, stay sweet, but not too sweet, and keep thriving with the Blood Sugar Squad.